My name is Marianne Rose. This presentation is part of a needs assessment project for an instructional needs analysis class through the George Washington University. The client for my needs assessment is the director of a state agency. The staff of about 30 people provide technology support for members of the state legislature. I've learned to promote the needs assessment to the client using a few key points. The needs assessment can provide a systematic framework with formal data collection tools and analysis techniques to see if training is indeed the only solution or one of several. Data can be collected across multiple facets of the organization to give a balanced perspective. One such approach, promoted by Deborah Tobey, involves 4 stages of needs assessment with a focus on the business, performance, learning, and learner needs. The formalized procedures, tools, and techniques for the needs assessment must be customized for the client's context. It leads to a gap analysis. That means analyzing the difference between the existing and desired states of performance and meaningful recommendations. The front-end needs assessment informs decisions that may have seemed difficult in the past, especially since a group of integrated interventions will likely be appropriate. The positive and impartial nature of the systematic needs assessment increase the likelihood of successful interventions that promote change, and it's change seen in behaviors and attitudes. Also, the data that's collected can be coded and cataloged for reference in the future. Although there have been many lessons learned from the needs analysis project at hand, here are 3. Once the surveys are filled out by a group of participants and results are compiled, it's too late to add a question that was needed for graphic presentation and analysis. The lesson learned is to experiment with the analysis as part of the survey design, making sure the graphic presentation of survey results will provide a meaningful analysis. Recommendations are not as meaningful when the client context is ignored or given cursory consideration. The lesson learned is to position all gap analysis within the organizational context, and that's as part of the current state or the desired state. By the time a manager asks for a training intervention, it's probably a performance problem that's been going on for some time, so the manager may be fatigued and more than a little embarrassed to talk about the issues. My client eventually came around to welcoming the fresh approach that I could offer. The lesson learned is to not be discouraged by the client's initial negative reaction to a needs assessment. So what about some final thoughts on this? The needs assessment, first of all, involves a paradigm shift where the focus moves away from the symptoms like low morale or habitual complaining to a broader perspective that involves analysis of the business, performance, learning, and learner needs. The positive reaction from my client gives a sense of validation for the systematic needs assessment, but it's the evaluation after the interventions take place that will tell whether my needs assessment was truly effective.